Guys, it's me, Chris. On this warm May day, I thought I would shoot a video on some of what I have for plumbing, PEX and copper stuff. Go through some of the fittings and tools, mainly for some of the new guys or somebody that's not used to using PEX. Um, I'm not sure how long the video will be, and I'm going to try and upload it to my YouTube. So I like to use these DeWalt organizers. They latch together. It's easy to carry, two or three of them. So that's what pretty much all my PEX stuff is in. Sorry you can't see me when I'm talking to you, but I don't have a real fancy camera set up. So this pretty much just is, all the basic PEX fittings, stuff you need to basically do PEX. I have the crimp and the cinch ring system. This is a stainless steel cinch ring. And it's kind of important to know that cinch means, cinch, and crimp means crimp, and they're not interchangeable terms. This is a cinch ring. It's stainless steel. It's what I've started to use pretty much all the time. It's easy to put on. It's easier to take off than the crimp style, and it's stronger. And you don't need to change any you don't need to make any modification on the tool to use different size, different size pipe and crimp and cinch rings. The same tool will do 3/4, it'll do 3/8, it'll do half. So let me put that down. This is the crimp ring. It is a crimp ring. You crimp it with what looks like a special kind of bolt cutter. It's the most basic PEX system, and it's not really the cheapest, but it's not that expensive for what it does. It's just a little bit basic, and it's hard to get in and out of places. It's kind of tight. It takes a lot of room to use the tool, and I'm going to go through the tools too. But in this box, I've got crimp and cinch rings of different sizes. I've got, the basic fittings, 90s. The plastic 90s, some people like. I really haven't used them that much, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can only use them with the crimp system. Just different fittings here. Plug fittings to plug off a line or to temporarily plug it off. And these, you can get these back. They're reusable. You can reuse them. So like if you want to temporarily plug off a line, check for leaks when you're putting a new install in, you can. Tees, couplers, basic plumbing stuff. And this is the piece, both male and female, they make both versions, that allows you to transition from copper on the left of it to PEX on the right. You have to be able to solder this piece on to a piece of copper, and then you can take off and run PEX. I do have the SharkBite tool. I do have some SharkBite stuff, mainly for emergencies or emergency repairs. Some odds and ends sizes stuff here, different threaded adapters and that kind of thing. Little screwdriver, just basic assortment of fittings. In this box I've got basically just the nail-on PEX fastening things to fasten them to joists. I think they're called Talon brand, 1/2 inch and 3/4. And they work pretty good. I've got some other, other type fasteners that kind of clamshell around the pipe and, allow you to strap it up or down or whatever you need to do with it. I've got some contractor packs of just, you know, things I've had to bought for jobs and that kind of thing. Um, these are in 1/2 inch size. This is a 90 reinforcement. It allows you to carefully bend the PEX, and you snap it into this with some difficulty, and it reinforces the 90 bend, and you don't have to use a 90 fitting. I've used those a couple places in my own house. Piece of PEX. This is, I would say, guys, the rolls of PEX are economical. I mean, it's hard to not pick up a roll of PEX for 30 bucks or whatever. But the coils of PEX, they're just a headache and a hassle. I buy straight PEX whenever I can, and that's generally all the time. I just like it. It looks a little neater when you install it. Most of what you'll find in the box stores, Lowe's and Home Depot, in fact, all of it is PEX B. I would be fair, you know, it'd be fair to say. PEX A is the best kind of PEX. It's the most flexible, and it's what you have to use for the expansion type system, which I don't have and can't go over here. But this is PEX B. It's basic PEX. You can crimp it, you can cinch it, you know, with the tools, and that's what you're pretty much going to find at Home Depot and Lowe's. And I just like the straight sticks of it. This tool is terrific. This is the tool I have. Lay it down here. It's made by Apollo. It's the one-handed ratchet crimper. And it's not really one-handed for me because I have kind of small hands. But it works with the cinch rings. You put that cinch ring on your pipe and on your fitting, and then this goes between the jaws, and you squeeze it till the blue light comes on. And if your tool's calibrated correctly, you're done. And if I didn't have to hold the camera, I would do a little demonstration for you, which I may do in the future sometime. But this is really what I've gone to using all the time. It's just handy. It's easy in tight places. It's easy in crawl spaces. It's easy in general. So that, I mean, it's like 50 bucks, if that much, on Amazon. SharkBite, I believe, bought the brand. SharkBite name applies to do different things. There are SharkBite press-on fittings, which everybody kind of has a love-hate relationship with. SharkBite also manufactures PEX stuff. So SharkBite, I believe, bought the Apollo brand, or there was some kind of, you know, collaboration there, because sometimes you can find this tool with blue handles with the SharkBite label. But I mean, I think this is like $48 on Amazon. That gets you really quickly into the PEX game. I think, you know, packs of cinch rings are, you know, $7, $8. Fittings are a little more. The same fitting works with a cinch ring that works with the crimp ring if you have the crimp set up. This is my favorite PEX cutter. It's made by Milwaukee. A lot of the plastic ones are really flimsy, you know, and PEX is pretty tough, so you want a good solid tool to cut it if you're going to be doing a lot of it. I just like this one. It's made to remove the expansion rings in the expansion system, but I don't have that system, so I just mainly use it to cut PEX with. And there's a lot of good videos on YouTube. I mean, I don't know how long this one's going to be, and I don't know what kind of trouble I'll have uploading it, but this is, and I don't know if I'll take this out of the box, but this is the crimp ring tool, as you can see. It runs you back like 90 bucks, if I remember right. It's basically like a bolt cutter type setup, and basically it allows you to crimp the rings, you know, on the PEX and on the fittings. The drawback with this tool is to switch between, you know, to switch between 1/2 inch PEX and fittings and 3/4 inch PEX and fittings. You have to change out the dies. You have to change out, you know, the crimping dies. And that gets a little tedious. I mean, when this was the main tool out there and, you know, it lets you do some PEX, it was great. And, oh, yeah, everybody was doing PEX and that kind of thing. But now this is where it's at, in my opinion. And I've talked to pro plumbers, and they said that, you know, by far the stainless steel cinch rings are easier and they're better. And, you know, in a freeze thaw type situation, they're stronger. The crimp rings are copper, so they're kind of a softer metal, and they can, in certain instances, I think, be expanded by a frozen pipe. You know, a frozen spot at the fitting there, or, you know, around the fitting. So this tool works. If you're going to buy the crimp tool, you need to buy this tool, because if you ever have to make a change or have a bad crimp or need to remove a crimped on connector, this is the tool that does it. It's basically like a gauged, you know, cutter that will cut you cut the fitting off the pipe, and it has a little bit of PEX on it, and you insert this, you know, basically, I guess, a mandrel in the fitting, and you cut the crimp ring on either side, and it allows you to, with a great deal of difficulty, get it off the line, get it off the, you know, and reuse the fitting. So this is basically just my regular copper box. Just basic stuff, you know, caps, couplings, threaded adapters, 90s, T's, some bits of copper, some assorted odd fittings, 3/4 inch repair coupling. I would encourage you guys, if you have a shark bite type valve, to throw it in with your stuff, because CPVC is notoriously brittle. So if you're working with some CPVC and something happens and it breaks or cracks, you know, you can often shove this on the line, and you don't have to leave the water shut off until you can, you know, make a repair. Straps, 1/2 inch repair couplings. A repair coupling slides, you know, all the way on a 1/2 inch line back and forth. It doesn't have stops in it, and you can, you know, cut out a bad spot in the line, slide this on, put your splice piece in and slide it over the joint, and then solder it, you know. I keep specialty fittings so they don't get mixed up. Street 45s, Street 90s, I keep them in their little packages in here, so they don't get mixed up with the regular 90s and 45s. So I wish I had a way to hold the camera a little better so I could actually, you know, you could see me and I could do some demonstration, but we're working on it. Oh. All right, guys. Hope this video helps somebody. I enjoy making them, so that was just a quick overview of what's in my boxes. Have a great day.